Thank you all for being here at the end of the symposium. Hopefully there were minimal disruptions on your end, none on my end, except my computer's acting up now. But that's okay, we'll get through this. I hope you, for the newcomers and for the folks who have been here a few years, realize that this symposium is a very special and friendly space to do this work. And the folks you see here, this group, these are your autoethnographic and narrative allies. So it's fun to see folks meeting, um, coming back year after year. I often, especially with this event, people, tend to dismiss online events for community. I see this community here. It's fun to come back every year and see folks and the connections they built and the relationships they built. So thank you all. We are all doing this together, and it is so important in so many ways. Just to get maybe it's a research project, maybe it's working with folks on a project, maybe it's getting an external reviewer, maybe it's commiserating with a fellow undergraduate or graduate student. So thank you all for being here, and I hope it's been a special event for you. Sure has for me every year. It's really, really nice. So we're now in our final hour, which is fantastic. It's a final hour of celebration. And to acknowledge some of our award recipients this year. And this is really, really neat to do. So each year, the International Association of Autoethnography and Narrative Inquiry, IAANI, which sponsors ISAN, solicits nominations for various awards. This year, we solicited nominations for 5 awards. We had the Outstanding Book, the Outstanding Edited Book, the Outstanding Audio and/or Visual Project, the Outstanding Dissertation, the Doctorate level, and the Outstanding Thesis for a master's student. Nominations had to be published, created, defended in the 3 calendar years, typo in the program, 2021 to 2023, prior to the year of the symposium 2024, at which the awards would be given. Nominations were evaluated according to the following criteria: originality, creativity, accessible and well-crafted, evocative and analytical writing, engagement with lived experience, such as emotion, subjectivity in the body, and the contribution to the field of autoethnography and personal narrative, and the practical significance and contribution to social justice. This year we had, across the awards, we had, I believe, 48 submissions. And so that's quite a lot to work through in the various categories. Takes a lot of work to do this work. And I want to thank the members of this year award review committees. Abdul Samad Humaydan, Sandra Hopkins, Ariana Nagashi, Juliana Kirshner, Alexis Johnson, Jian Ryu, Yolandi West, Andy Stewart, Renata Ferdinand, Lydia Turner, Derek Boland, Don Fahey, Lisa Spinazzola, Marlon Harrison, Ann Jabro, Christina Ivy, Annette Kappert, Craig Wood, and Elizabeth Spradley. I do not serve on any of these award committees. You all do this work, and I just have to thank you, and several of you are here at this last session. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can we give them, we're giving them a little sign. Thank you all. Now I would like to recognize this year's award winners. I will introduce their work, and each recipient will have a few minutes to discuss the work, offer any thanks, comments they would like to. After we recognize all of the award winners, we should have some time for questions and comments and for any of the recipients. The recognized works today, with the exception of the master's thesis, because I couldn't find it online, the recognized works today are linked in the program. And so if you want links to these works, the program where you could get your Zoom rooms, I included the links to the various works that I could find in the program. So let's begin with the Outstanding Book Award. And I'm going to do this by sharing the screen. Okay, cool. Okay, so I want to begin with the first Outstanding Book Award. Our first Outstanding Book Award goes to Life, To be given back again to whence it came, a pilgrimage through prolonged grief, confronting grief illiteracy, and healing loss using the art of storytelling by Lenita Epan Matthew. In this book, Epan Matthew uses evocative autoethnography to portray her experience with the complicated grief that materialized after the loss of her father. Examined against and alongside the cultural hybridity of being Indo-Canadian, Epan Matthew shows how the death of a loved one can wash over us like a catastrophic tsunami, and how grief can alter our physical, emotional, psychological, behavioral, and spiritual well-being. Throughout the book, she explores grief illiteracy, various perspectives on grief, and calls us to bring grief back into the embrace of one's community so we can provide one another with the shelter and support necessary to reconcile and heal our losses. As the nominator writes, this book is a, quote, a voice, a companion, and a tribute to all who have lost a loved one. Congratulations, Lenita. I believe you are here with us today. Would you like to come on and offer a few remarks? Yeah.
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much. It's a big honor to receive this award. This is a book that came out of a very dark place. I call it The Dark Night of the Soul in the book, referring to other literature. And in that space, I experienced grief illiteracy myself. And then as a teacher, I wanted to figure out how to support my students and to support others who may have had the same experiences. And so I went on this quest of autoethnography, examining my experience in bereavement as a Canadian born and raised in Calgary, Alberta, and also as an Indian who's raised by two parents who were born and raised in Kerala, India. And so to see and examine the rituals from both sides and how they helped support my prolonged grief, and eventually how I use storytelling, which grew another book called The Revelations of Epan, which are 41 stories I wrote to reconcile loss. And then I analyzed my data using the narratives under analysis approach, and was then able to create a unit for educators to support the bereaved in the classroom. And so I would like to thank the committee for reading my work and acknowledging the importance of bringing grief education into schools. And just to thank my mother, Mary Matthew, who's sitting here with me, and my brother, Lindsay Matthew, and those who are close to me, and also Reinika Lingel, who I think is here today, who has supported and encouraged my work and continues to do so. So thank you to everyone. This is a true honor. And I'm so thrilled that this book was recognized today. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenita. I also must tell you, and I'm only saying this because it was on social media, your Facebook image of this award next to your father's grave left me speechless.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I made sure to honor him first and bring it there to show him. It's these types of things that make you feel that death and loss is not in vain. And so I made sure he knew that first. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for doing this work. Our next book, a second book, this was the committee put forth a second book to recognize as an outstanding book as well, as an honorable mention outstanding book, Undoing Suicidism, a trans, queer, crip approach to rethinking assisted suicide by Alexander Burrill. In Undoing Suicidism, Alexander Burrill argues that suicidal people are oppressed by what he calls structural suicidism, a hidden oppression that until now has been unnamed and under-theorized. Each year, suicidism and its preventionist script and strategies reproduce violence and cause additional harm and death among suicidal people through forms of criminalization, incarceration, discrimination, stigmatization, and pathologization. This is particularly true for marginalized groups experiencing multiple oppressions, including queer, trans, disabled, and mad people. Undoing Suicidism questions the belief that the best way to help suicidal people is through the logic of prevention. Burrill presents the thought-provoking argument that supporting assisted suicide for suicidal people could better prevent unnecessary deaths. Offering a new queer crip model of assisted suicide, he invites us to imagine what could happen if we started thinking about assisted suicide, assisted in parentheses, from an anti-suicidist and intersectional framework. I also want to mention that this book is published as an open access text as well, which is really fantastic. Congratulations, Alexander. I know you are with us today.
Thank you so much, Tony, and thank you to the association for the honorable mention. And I would also like to thank everyone on the committee who took the time, of course, to read and review the book. And I would also like to congratulate Linita Ipen Matthew, as well as everyone who applied for this award. I really feel honored and privileged to win this honorable mention, particularly as I do not consider myself an expert of autoethnography like many of you are today in this room. And although autoethnography has been at the heart of my work for over a decade now, it's with great humility that I use this methodology in my academic work. Ironically, the very word autoethnography is not found in my book, in which I refer more to auto theory, which can be considered in many respects as a form of autoethnography. But indeed, my own stories, narratives, experiences, and effects are at the heart of this book, which deals with, you mentioned it, Tony, the oppression of suicidal people, which I call suicidism. In fact, suicidal people are frequently institutionalized and drugged against their will, discriminated against in employment and insurance policies, have their parental rights revoked, or literally expelled from university campuses. So it's in the spirit of forming effective social and political solidarity with other suicidal people that I revealed my own suicidality in the book. And beyond the success the book has had in academic circles and today's prize, honorable mention, what moves me deeply is to see how the liberation of my own narrative as a suicidal person in this book has helped to free the narrative of several other suicidal people who have been contacting me more and more often to tell me about their own stories of suicidality and suicide suppression, and how my book has provided them with deeper understanding and words to conceptualize, discuss, and share with others the harsh experiences they lived through. So the mark of recognition that I received today through this award, honorable mention, is therefore a way of validating not only my experience, but also the experience of many suicidal people around the world who too often, unfortunately, suffer, live, and even die in silence. So thank you again to everyone, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
So thank you, Alexander. Our next award is going for the Outstanding Edited Book Award. And this year's award goes to Narrative and Grief, Autoethnographies of Loss by Delisa Randall Griffiths and Patricia English Schneider. Narrative and Grief examines the desire to make sense out of the nonsensical by exploring specific stories of loss and grief, spanning from the loss of a parent, a child, or a partner, loss within larger family systems, and ambiguous and anticipatory loss to larger cultural aspects of grief. The autoethnographic essays in this book reflect on the unique and individual experiences of each contributor's story. Simultaneously, these essays reveal that although each grief experience is unique, it is also collective, evoking broader themes related to loss and grief. This anthology offers an effective tool for those experiencing grief, helping them not feel so alone in their suffering and help others learn how to communicate their grief with those they love. Congratulations, Lisa and Patricia. I know you both are here.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm joined with my colleague, Patricia English Schneider, on this call, but she's going to let me do the talking. We are incredibly honored and grateful. And the more sessions I attended throughout this weekend, the more humbled I was to be a part of an award from this community. So thank you for that. But as editors of a collection, it's really the contributors that we owe all of our gratitude to, that they trusted us with very personal and deep stories of grief and loss, and book wouldn't be anything without their voices. In particular, we wanted to thank Ron Pelias in the session right before. We heard about his generosity as a teacher, and also Nathan Stuckey, who both, when we asked if they would contribute a chapter for the book proposal, said yes without hesitation, and they're beautifully crafted, and I'm sure were a big part of how we were able to get this book published. So thank you again for the honor, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of this award ceremony.
Awesome. Thank you all. Thank you both so much. And I just want to do a shout out. What most folks in this room don't know, and trust that the review committee sure didn't know, is that Patricia Patty was one of my undergraduate instructors. Spring 2000, small group communication. Here's the syllabus. I probably still owe you an assignment. It's fun being in the same space with you again, Patty, and to celebrate your work 24 years.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony, for all the work you do. It's so great to see you in this role and all you've done since you were just an undergrad in one of my classes. So thank you.
So neat. Yeah, thank you. Our next award is the we have the another outstanding edited book award. This one as an honorable mention, Plural Feminisms: Navigating Resistance as Everyday Praxis by Sohini Chatterjee and Pohan Lee. Drawing on different understandings of feminisms, this collection imagines the mundane as a feminist site of resistance against multiple and intersectional marginalization and oppression, using autoethnography and narrative. Feminist, queer, trans, genderqueer, indigenous, Black, racialized, disabled, and neurodivergent scholars reflect on the resistance strategies they and other feminists employ on a daily basis to survive and to form and sustain dissident kinships, strategies that remain unread, unheard, overlooked, and excluded from dominant discourses of being and becoming. The collection foregrounds the importance of first-person narratives in developing an expansive understanding of what it means to be a feminist, the different narratives and forms resistance takes, and the sociocultural value of subversion. Congratulations, Sohini and Pahan. Are you with us today? They may not be. Time might trap them. Okay. Our next award is the Outstanding Audio and/or Visual Project, and it goes to Love Mum by Cynthia Hugh Ying. Love Mum is an original autobiographical show that explores the question, what is a good Chinese woman? How does a woman live an authentic life in a patriarchal, colonial, and capitalist society? Lamb, it should be Cynthia Lamb. Sorry. Lamb weaves personal narratives, poetic devices, including Tai Chi, Chinese martial arts, multimedia projections, poetry, and recordings of her mother singing to interrogate cultural, patriarchal, colonial systems of oppression. This work has been included in film festivals and writing workshops, including one workshop for teenage girls about what it means to be good girls and women. With this work, Lamb has also established a creative arts company, Love Mum Creatives. By exploring sociocultural expectations and oppressions placed on women, Lamb hopes to inspire awareness and positive cultural change. Congratulations, Cynthia. I know you're here with us today. Yay, congratulations.
Thank you, Tony. So it's an honor to win this award, and I am delighted to be around a group of people who are as keen on the subject of autoethnography as I am. So my one-woman show was initially conceived as part of my PhD thesis on the healing effects of autoethnography and solo female autobiographical performance. So at first, when I started writing the play, I actually did not know exactly what my play was trying to say, nor where it was going to take me. So all I knew was that I was unhappy and I did not know why. But I knew that somehow that the way towards my healing was through the writing and embodying the life experiences of my past trauma and exploring the lives and tensions between myself my mother and my two grandmothers. So it was only like towards the end of the production of the play, when I had to write a playwright's note in my marketing program, that I managed to put into words the overall bigger picture of what my play was really about. So this is part of what I wrote. So I said, it was only in my 30s when I started to pursue my writing and literature degree in New Zealand that I began to really think and become aware of the societal and cultural structures that bind us, those that influence and shape our beliefs and behavior. I realized that I had received these messages growing up, whether overt or covert, intentional or unintentional, through the media, society, peers, family, culture, books, and the wider social cultural environment. So these messages, whether helpful or unhelpful, have impacted and shaped my thoughts on how I thought I should behave and the life I should lead. What does it mean to be successful? What does it mean to be a good woman, in particular, a good Chinese woman? And so I think this is really where the beauty and value of autoethnographic inquiry comes in. It was the ability for me to be both an insider inside my story and also an outsider, where I could analyze and situate myself within a specific social cultural context. So I used to think that the creative and critical sides of me were separate, that when I wrote creatively, it was engaging with my heart and emotions. And when I did my analytical research, like the critical portion of my PhD, that I would be engaging with my brain and intellect. So, however, I realized that these aspects feed off each other, so that instead I'm reminded of the yin-yang symbol, where the creative and critical bleed and flow into one another, and that there's always a small aspect of each in the other. So I think I'll just want to end there and just to say I'm very grateful for being recognized for this award. Like, it really means a lot to me as like an early researcher and emerging creative artist. So yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, thank you very, very much. Congratulations again. Our next award, we have the Outstanding Dissertation Awards, and this year we have two. We had a tie with this award. The first dissertation award recognizes Dr. Ana Isabel Terminal Iberi's dissertation, Beyond Critical Communication, Pedagogy, Pláticas with Latinx Youth. This dissertation uses autoethnography, narrative, and performance to explore the possibility of critical communication pedagogy outside of traditional classrooms. Specifically, Iberi embraces the Chicana Latina feminist methodology Pláticas to co-create space with Latinx high school students who have experienced the foster care system. Through 16 Pláticas, Iberi explores interrogating power, embracing embodied knowledge to question civility, and examining culture and identity. Iberi grapples with the tensions that arise for her as a scholar and researcher, and reimagines humanizing relational approaches to doing critical qualitative research that centers the voices of marginalized youth of color. Congratulations, Dr. Iberi. I believe you're here with us today. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name too.
Yes. Nice job on the name. I know it can be sometimes a struggle. Thank you all so much for this honor. My dissertation was a result of over 5 years of involvement with an organization that supports high school students, mostly Latinx, who have experienced the foster care system, and really 15 months of data collection. And I would say that my favorite part about all of it was really getting to spend time with youth with whom I had already known for a long time and who I had strong relationships with. Together, we had the opportunity to platicar about a variety of topics, including identity, race, class, gender, sexuality, around advocacy, social justice, and really our role in intervention and in changing the world. I embraced autoethnography to really demonstrate some of the tensions that I was grappling with in my work with young people. And this, I would say, helped me to reject the notion that critical work should be complete and offer neatly packed themes. Instead, autoethnography helped me to embrace the messiness that comes with all types of research, a messiness that's really part of who I am, and a messiness that I consider to be extremely generative in this work. I offer my gratitude to the association and to the committee who read all of this outstanding work that we've heard about today. And I'm especially grateful to my advisors, Dr. Dan Brower, who unfortunately passed away during the process of my research, but who is the reason that I didn't quit my doctoral program, and my other advisor, Dr. Loretta Lemaster, who consistently believed in me and everything that I wanted to do. Thank you so much.
Awesome, great work. Congratulations. Our other outstanding dissertation recognizes Dr. Crystal Chris Omni's dissertation, Black Joy in Green Spaces, a nature-inspired and darkened visual narrative inquiry about Black women and joy. In Black Joy in Green Spaces, Chris invited Black women to step into a green space and pause their daily demands to prioritize their physical, emotional, mental, and social needs. Her goal is still to disrupt deficit narratives that have been the focus of far too many research studies in academic spaces, using a bricolage of arts-based methods that involved walking practices in green spaces, narrative inquiry, and participatory photography and photo elicitation. The resulting narratives are not only moving, but also give voice to an underrepresented population through an asset-based lens. As the nominator writes, never before have I been involved in a doctoral defense where all of the candidates, participants, or co-researchers, as Chris prefers, attended, told stories, supported each other, wept with tears of joy, and ultimately owned the space with a celebratory dance to music at its conclusion. Congratulations, Dr. Omni. I know you're here with us today.
Thank you, love. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Tony, it seems like we've known each other longer than we actually have, but thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, IAANI. Thank you to all the committee members who had an opportunity to review the 45 plus submissions and then to identify ours as the Outstanding Dissertation of the Year. I'm extremely grateful for that. Beyond that, and most importantly, I am grateful to the ancestors. I am grateful to the Creator, because I've noticed a theme throughout this entire recognition ceremony. And it's a theme that I also noticed within autoethnography, is that a lot of our work starts from a place of pain and it becomes a place of healing. This journey for me actually did start from a place of loss. And it's pretty beautiful that this is happening in March, because on March 31st of 2016, my mama transitioned from a 26-year battle with cancer. And what I realized in that space is when she transitioned, my relationship to her transitioned from the physical plane to a spiritual plane, which means I am now even more connected to the ancestors. And that has opened so many doors. I feel like I could just speak on that subject alone, but that's where I want to really lean in and give my gratitude to the ancestors and the Creator. I also want to say thank you to my husband, the future Dr. Vincent Omni, who is on this line right now. And I pause to recognize him because there are so many reasons, and we've been together for, oh my God, we were married in 2005, together since 2002, so a long time. But I remember the moment when my computer crashed and I lost 10 pages of edits in my dissertation. I ran upstairs, hyperventilating. I saw you, Anna. I saw you, Dr. Anna. Yes, you know what that is. I lost 10 pages and I was hyperventilating and I was having a panic attack. And the only thing I can keep on saying was, okay, okay, okay. I woke him up from his sleep and he's like, baby, what's wrong? He held me. And him holding me is what I want to do in this space for Black women and Black people, to literally hold space for us and focus on the power of relationships, the power of love, the power of healing, and the power of joy. I fell into, or should I say, the autoethnography gods downloaded that energy into me by just divine intervention and divine timing, because I was tired of the deficit narrative. I come from a background of public health, and everything that we look at for the most part is what's wrong with Black women. And I did not want to situate my PhD in that same space and continue to perpetuate this narrative. So what I do unapologetically is to create and hold spaces for Black people with an emphasis on Black women, where we focus on what is right with us. And what is right with us is a joyful story. I leave you with this, which is a better understanding that happiness happens to you, joy happens within you. Black joy is a collective space. It is a collective self-ideology that happens in all of us. So when I see another Black person's joy, I'm sitting in that joy as well. And I close out with a special love download to my nephew who is on this call. And he too will be a future doctor nephew, Jovan Osborne. Today we skipped, literally. We just were outside holding hands and we skipped. So my joy was amplified in preparation for this moment. So thank you, IAANI. Thank you, committee members. I hear the Grammy music playing in the background. So let me go ahead and get off the line. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Dr. Omni. Maybe we can bring that in next year. We can bring in an orchestra. That'd be fun. Have pets and orchestras next year. Next, we have the Outstanding Thesis Award, and this year's award recognizes Abigail Ruth Meyer's thesis, Anxious Negotiations of Being Indigenous in Diaspora, Re-Encountering the Colonial Through Critical Autoethnography. This thesis focused on Meyer's experience as a woman of Indigenous descent being raised in diaspora. Using narratives and autoethnographic accounts, Meyer engaged her own discomfort by tracing events in her life that have shaped anxieties surrounding her indigeneity. Meyer concludes that through the autobiographical process, she has come to recognize that lingering colonial representations and research that regards the indigenous as other produce limited frames of reference that obscures and silences many indigenous experiences, particularly diasporic experiences. As her nominator writes, Meyer challenges pervasive binaries such as insider-outsider dualism and separation of theory, conceptual knowledge, and embodied knowledge, those stories and experiences. Her work is also an invitation to engage with affects in qualitative inquiry, discomfort being one of the most potent ones. Congratulations, Abigail. Are you with us today? I'm not sure. Okay. In addition to these awards, oh no, playback, there we go. In addition to these awards, IAANI also awards a Journal of Autoethnography Article of the Year. This year, any original unsolicited article published in a 2023 issue of the journal was eligible for the award. 3 editorial board members evaluated 31 articles based on originality and creativity, the use of well-crafted evocative and/or analytical writing, how the author engaged lived experience, and how the article made a significant contribution to the field of autoethnography. This is one of my favorite awards. Not only do the authors often not know they're even being considered for it unless they've been here and realized they published something in the journal and this award is given, but it is also interesting to work with every year we change up the editorial board members to see which articles they're going to, how they work with these articles. So it's an absolute treat with this process. The 2023 Journal of Autoethnography Article of the Year goes to Ordinary Moments, Feminist Moments from the Academy by Elizabeth McInlay. The article presents a series of feminist notes from the Academy, collected and fashioned while watching the ordinary moments of life in a contemporary Australian university pass by. The effective and feminist works of Virginia Woolf and Kathleen Stewart locate this article creatively and critically to document the somethings that happen day in and day out. McInlay interrogates her positioning as a white settler, colonial, cisgendered feminist woman in the Academy, the relevancy of Virginia Woolf's wondering and writing about the status of women, and the capacity of autoethnography to get down to the roots of this dilemma as it is being played out in the fields of gender studies today. As one reviewer remarked, this article is delicious. McInlay teaches the reader many important things about how to be a feminist academic. I loved it. Thank you for writing it. Congratulations, Liz. I know you are with us today.
Hi everyone. I'm coming to you from Lismore in northern New South Wales in Australia, and university life is starting to happen here on a Monday morning. I'm on the unceded lands of the Widjabal people of the Bundjalung Nation, and a very ordinary day when I got the extraordinary news that my paper had been awarded this. So thank you everybody. It was a huge surprise, particularly for what I felt were really important small but very big notes about what it's like to try and live a feminist life in the academy today. So yeah, and Laurel, I can see that you're here reading your feminist work very many years ago, always continually inspired to keep our feminist spirit strong and keep waving the flags, particularly as we approach International Women's Day. Count her in is the theme we're celebrating here in New South Wales. That's our Australian version of it. And so this piece is one way to ensure that women keep getting counted in the academy. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Liz. Congratulations again. Okay, so those are the awards this year. Can we give one more round? Give you reactions, claps? Yes.